Well, good morning and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm, where I try and figure out how to live sustainably on 300 square metres in the city. What are we doing today? Well, I thought we would do a garden tour, a farm tour. I haven't been out in the garden and shown you around for months, I've realised. So what I thought we'd do is go out and it's raining. Yeah, I have to admit, it's a pause in the rain at the moment, so it's not raining at the moment, but likely to rain at any minute. It has rained all of November, most of December. So yeah, let's dash out between the showers and I'll show you around and see what's happening.
Right, let's start where we usually do, by the gate. What? What's happened? What's that, Maggie? Something important happened? What's going on? Oh, I see one of the neighbourhood dogs is barking. Must be something important. Looking at the woodland border, the spring bulbs have finished now, and the what is that? Aquilegia. The aquilegia is looking delightful. I'm not sure, will it focus on that? It might be a little blown out, but looking really beautiful there. So the aquilegia are out, and the calla lilies are out as well. They take over in the summer. So behind we have the hellebores, and they look beautiful through the winter, but then they sort of obviously die back a little bit, and then the calla lilies come out. And so I have a new plant there. I got that from the garden centre the other day. Don't know what it is, but I thought it really went quite nicely and was low profile for the front. So I'm thinking I've got some new aquilegia seeds that I'm just starting off. So I might put those in there and maybe see if I can get some more calla lilies, because they do seem to do quite well. Of course, the snow in summer along the edge, this along this border here, that's romping away, and we've had lots of beautiful white flowers. So that's good. Looking at this bed, not much going on here really. I've put a portulaca in that little pot because they dry out so quickly, just being terracotta. It doesn't actually go into the ground, it's got a flat bottom. Oh, hi Maggie, walk through my shot. Photo bombing, good lord. Yes, so I've put the portulaca in there because it's sort of a bit succulenty, and I thought it might be okay there. And next to that, you see that plant there? That is a chocolate cosmos, which I grew from seed last year, and I put it in. It got thoroughly eaten by the slugs, and I thought it had died. But it's come back, so I'm really pleased with that. Got a few random pansies in here, the odd sort of bit and piece. I mean, I don't know what this bed is yet. It's a dumping ground for bits of things I have left over, to be honest. The espalier trees, that's the apple. And we have, I don't know if you can see here, underneath this leaf, we have baby apples forming, so that's very exciting. Oh, there's some more over there. You see, more baby apples and lots of blossom, so that's doing really well. The pear as well, that's the pear growing up. We're almost at the top on that one. That's the last tier. So this espalier at the top will pretty much be finished this year, which will be really exciting. And then it's just a case of keeping it in shape and pruning it and not let it get any bigger than it is now, really. It can just have branches and buds and fruit, really. So that's the plan. The clematis, the double dead clematis that died twice, had come back, and it's got these beautiful blooms. Beautiful blooms. I mean, look, isn't that gorgeous? Cardinal red it's called. So that's doing really nicely. Seems to be happy there, so I'm pleased. The fig tree has just had its summer prune. So I do a summer prune to keep it in shape and keep it tidy and not too big. But it does cast quite a bit of shade, as you will see, over the woodland border, which is why we call it the woodland border, because it's for shady plants. Right, moving on down, we've got the other espalier. That again has got buds on it and little fruit. That one's a little further behind. It went in a little later. So yeah, we've got a couple of strings. Yeah, sorry, wires really. They're not string, are they? A couple of wires yet to go on that. What are you doing, Maggie? Have you got a stick? Oh yes, very exciting. Oh, I've got a stick. I've got a stick. Oh, do you want to play? Is that the plan? Hold on one moment. I've got to throw a stick. Okay, I'll throw my stick. Oh, no, we're still going. No, Maggie, I'm doing my video now. Oh, there we go. Yes, you just play yourself. That's good. Eat it. Eat the stick. That's right. She's sitting on the front mat now, eating the stick. Perfect. The herbs along here are doing much better now that it's a bit warmer. Although, wow, has it been wet. We have had so much rain. I mean, as you can see today, it's hardly a beautiful, sunny summer's day. Warm, moist, but certainly not sunny. It hasn't been, has it, girlies? No. Been very wet, yes. So, but you can see the hollyhocks up there. Look at that one, it's really tall. That's there romping away. Oh, Maggie's back with the stick. What's going on in here? Oh, I pruned the centre out of the avocados the other day. And we do have baby avocados forming, so really exciting. I was hoping that we would, because we had so many flowers. But we do, so I just trimmed the top out to get more light in, because obviously these avocados, they're planted in a family planting, 4 together in just over a metre squared, and the idea is that you keep them small, a little bit like the espalier, but you keep them small and they pollinate each other. So yeah, I'm quite ruthless with it. The chicken coop's looking a little damp, but anyway, that fly trap has been going absolute gangbusters. It was so loud that with the amount of flies in there yesterday that you could hear it as you were walking up the path. I was thinking, what's that noise? So yeah, it's just starting, because it's starting to get warmer now. You probably can't see many flies in there, but yeah, it's really working. With all this rain and then the moist weather, we have definitely had some flies. Right, oh, it's starting to drizzle. How wonderful. So let's have a little look around here. I must show you. Here we have, look at my apple tree. It's so bizarre. I'm growing apples right on the tips, which leads me to think that this is a tip-bearing variety. I must have known that when I put it in, but it did surprise me all the same. So this is Peas Good Nonsuch and Monty's Surprise, and I think I'm going to have to thin those, because those branches are never going to hold the weight of those apples. They are really large apples. So we've had blossom. We've got some more coming down here. I don't know if you can see that, just in the middle there. There's some more apples forming there, and I think that branch has a better chance of holding the apples up. But definitely some pruning, some thinning, should I say. Definitely some thinning on the cards, I think. Oh, now you're coming through. Hello? Hello, what are we doing? Are you gutsy? You want some of that, do you? They keep the herbs along this edge quite well pruned, because they lean through and eat the greens, which is good for them. And yeah, it works quite nicely. So turning round, I have my blueberries, which are doing really, really well. I must get those covered actually, because the birds will have them. But I'm very excited. I've never grown blueberries before, so that's quite a treat. And as you can see in the background, the kumara planter has not got any further at all. I think it's going to be a Christmas job actually. The daughter is coming to stay with us over Christmas, of course, and I think it's one of those jobs, because we're just not making headway. We've had so much rain. It's been silly, really. So damp. Anyway, the hollyhocks are all up there, and I also noticed the other day I pruned out all the grapes, but I don't know if you can see what I can see. I missed some. So I'm in two minds as to whether to leave those. So I'm going to have to get up there and take them out, or I might just leave those, to be honest. I mean, it might be nice to taste them. Right, so what's happening? Oh, bit of a change. We'll go along the path first. I want to show you my very sad, guilty secret. This is my tomato experiment. I'll put a link to the video in the cards above, actually. But if you remember, I was doing a tomato experiment to see different ways of growing tomatoes. These were my early tomatoes, which I started off in the conservatory, and then they sort of got a mouldy sort of mildew, so I threw them outside. Now they do look incredibly sad. I'm not quite sure whether to call this a win or a fail. Yes, he's still trying to make me play with the stick. I think we could probably call them dead. But they have delivered the goods. We have had heaps and heaps of tomatoes. So we've been eating tomatoes since November, mid-November, which for those in the Northern Hemisphere would be equivalent to eating tomatoes in May. So pretty good. I don't know, comments below, is that a win or is it a fail? I don't know. I mean, would I do them next year? I think I would, because it was so lovely to have tomatoes really early, and of course my other tomatoes haven't started producing yet. But they are quite embarrassing when people come around and see that. It's a bit of a guilty secret. Anyway, the olive tree is doing well, and my massive olive, you can still see it, look, it's really beefing up in this weather with this rain. So yeah, looking forward to trying that olive. Oh, and look, we've got the tiniest snail in the world. Hello snail, what are you doing? I think I'll have to fetch you off there. You can't be there because you'll grow and eat things, but you are sweet. Okay, so down here we have the strawberries, which are now producing. So I come out every morning for my breakfast, pick strawberries and raspberries with my muesli, so that's rather delicious. So the strawberries are romping away, and my wheelbarrow strawberry planter, and I've got a couple of extra overflow pots there. They're doing really well, and I think quite liking the rain, to be honest. And then my citrus grove, oh, look at that bougainvillea. It's a baby bougainvillea, and it is just looking stunning. The lime tree there is, I haven't checked for fruit, but it's certainly growing. Then there's the tangerine there, and there is a fruit on there, a little tiny baby fruit. Saw that the other day, so there's definitely, I think we can spot it amongst the greenery, it's there. So there is a baby fruit, there's probably more on. Oh look, there's another one. Yes, there is definitely another one there. So tangerines look like they're coming this year. And then that's the orange tree there, so hopefully that will have some on. I'll have to have a little look and see what I can find. Now this, in Big Ben, this is a jasmine, and for 2 years now it has flowered beautifully, and we've enjoyed the scent for a few weeks, and then we've had these little tiny caterpillar things that come in and just basically eat all the flowers off. So I don't know, I'm in two minds as to whether to actually rip it out and plant something else, because a jasmine without flowers, is there a point? Is there any point? I don't know. Yep, I'm thinking about that. So looking down the west gardens, you can see that the Chilean guava, that is, considering it was a tiny short seedling, about 10 centimeters tall when I put it in, that's really romping away, so pleased with that. The herbs in here all the time and everything is now starting to bounce back a bit. Jacqueline is looking a bit sad. We've had quite a lot of rain, but there are some gorgeous blooms on the top. I don't know if you can see that. So they're coming. So I might need to do a bit of a trim because it has been wet. Anyway, we've got some of the thyme flowering now. And you've left your stick in the path. That's useful. I'll stand on that, won't I? The wildlife pond's doing nicely. You can see the rain starting to come down now. Yeah, but that's looking quite nice. Obviously with plenty of rain, we've had plenty of water to fill that. And then my gutter gardens, I've actually started, I didn't have much joy in planting anything in there that survived. Last year I put portulaca in some of the gutter gardens, and they were beautiful, a real flash of colour. So I've done the same this year and put some in the top. But what I've also been doing is collecting succulents. So I think this is going to be a succulent garden, which could be quite exciting. I love it being all so wild down here. So these are blackberries, and they are beautifully in blossom, and we also have blackberries coming, so yeah, very nice. That's going to have a nice crop again this year, and again it would enjoy this wet weather. And the raspberries are producing, so you can see we've got lots of raspberries coming, and as I say, I come out every morning and pick raspberries for my breakfast, so that's really nice. And swizzling you round, that's a new black currant which I planted this last year, so that's got a leaf on it now, which is good. So yeah, I'm hoping to get some berries on that. We will see. And then round the corner, actually just around this enormous great plant, is a Worcesterberry. It's a weird creature. It doesn't seem to do that much, but it hasn't really kicked off. But then again, it has been moved about 3 times. So I'm giving it a chance. I'm just not looking. That's my technique. If something looks a bit sad, I don't look at it. And then it either dies or gets on with the job. So that is my baby feijoa. Now, I'm not sure whether the feijoa's a baby or whether it's just a small tree. But anyway, it's got nice blossoms and things on it. If I can save it from the guava moth, we might try them. And round the corner here, I have got a couple of new plants in. So in the corner there, that's what is it? Hydrangea that a friend gave me a cutting of. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. The flower looks really lovely. And then I also, just down there, which is getting a bit covered off by these all the wildflowers, there's another plant. Now what's it? I can't remember what it's called now. Viburnum. It's a viburnum, and that will have a flower similar, I think, a white flower similar to the hydrangea. So the idea is that hopefully that whole corner will be sort of covered in flowers. Well, it is raining now, but I am not being put off. We're carrying on, aren't we, Maggie? We are. Yes, we are carrying on, even though it's raining. We don't care, do we? No, because we're going to. I'm so fed up with the rain. We are going to do this. Come on then, let's finish the tour. Okay, so that's the West Gardens. The banana, I think, is loving this rain. Anyway, let's go up to the kitchen garden now. I should also just say, as we're coming along here, the grape is going gangbusters, and the one at the other end. And those hollyhocks at the end are just looking divine. So pleased with those. Yeah, look, the grape is all the way here. That's amazing. Keeps trying to, it's funny backing up here, keeps trying to change track. So there are two main leaders coming along here. I don't know if you can see that actually. There are two main leaders, but this one is winning and it keeps trying to change track to the other side. Not quite sure why, but anyway. Oh yes, very loud birds. The lavender are looking really lovely. They're all coming out quite nicely. Oh, I didn't show you my lavender border. So round here, I did have some daisies round here. And I got these little seedlings and put them in just because I need something to grow. And this bed here is in the rain shadow of that wall, so it's very dry. The trees manage okay because they have deep roots, but anything I put in here wasn't doing well. And I had these daisies, they did work, but they were a bit messy and they went all over the path. So I have decided to make it into a lavender border. And as you can see, I've got some very tiny lavender in here, some cuttings from other places in the garden. I did buy this one new, and then there's a couple down here which I got off the almost dead rack at Mitre 10. So yeah, the idea is to have this all covered in lavender. That's the plan, and then it hopefully will pick up the lavender that sort of runs along the front, which you can't see very well because of the marquee. But anyway, let's have a look at the kitchen garden. So looking in the UK first, yeah, this was one I did on the last video where I put my courgettes in. As you can see, I now just have one courgette left because I've decided which was the winner, and they're growing away nicely. I've still got the brassicas, a few brassicas left that were in there anyway, waiting to head up. I've got chard and brassicas, what's that? And that's a broccoli back there, I think, and all sorts of bits and pieces. I've even got a tomato and some beans in there because you'll have noticed, perhaps the eagle-eyed among you, that I've taken out, I used to have a tronchuda, a Portuguese cabbage there, and also this one, which is a 9-star broccoli, and they're perennial brassicas, but they just were too big for my garden. They were enormous. So I have taken out the tronchuda, and the 9-star is coming out slowly, but I'm using those leaves to feed the chickens at the moment, so that's why that's still there, but they're coming out. So I've got some extra room. See, this plan on my plan, this area here obviously had those perennials in, but now they're coming out. I'm actually bunging in all the leftovers that I've got in there, well, my leftover seedlings. You can see now that the asparagus are all starting to romp away. We've left them to go to fern, so we've finished eating the asparagus now, so they're doing well and they're enjoying the rain too. And then down here, you can see now those seeds, the soybeans that I planted, they've come through now and they're growing, which is good. Those plants there were the aubergines that were in the conservatory. I think they're looking a bit happier. Yeah, they've got new growth, and it's certainly happy new growth, so yeah, they might do quite well. The onions are all upright and have taken, so that's good. And then over here in Birmingham, you can see now we've got the tomatoes. Those are part of my other tomato experiment. They were the early tomatoes that went in straight in the bed, not as early as the ones in the pot, but the first ones out in the garden. They're doing quite well. I've got some beetroot in there. I've got some, what's that? That's broccoli. There's a sort of a slightly blown lettuce there. And then this plant climbing up, this is my rambicante. So, oh, and I've got some onions in that bed as well, I think. So you can see on the rambicante, I have my first fruit. Look at this. Yeah. So that's quite exciting. Yeah, that seems to be happy. It seems to be quite thuggish, which is what we like. So hopefully it will go all the way up onto the top of Crystal Palace and maybe make it up onto the bicycle wheel. The beans again are enjoying this rain. They've grown all the way to the top. They're coming over the pergola. Not too much in the leaf department, but they are producing beans. We've been eating some of these beans, and they're knocking out the beans. So soon we will have a glut of beans, and I will be stashing them in the freezer. I've just recently sown, you see at the base here under these covers, I've recently sown rocket and spinach in there. So it's covered because the birds would have that out in 2 minutes. So until till they get bigger, and just spinning you around, same thing on the other side. I've got rocket and spinach down there too. So these beans, those are different beans. These are Blue Lake beans, and I could not get them out of the ground. You could see that they're not as tall as the other ones. Could not get them out of the ground. So I ended up using a technique I've seen with turtles, where basically they just have lots and lots and lots of them, and they all dash at the same time. I just put lots of seeds in the ground and thought, well, if they all try going at the same time, there's only so many, hopefully the slugs and snails can take out, because they were just decimating anything I put in here. And yeah, it worked. So they're out of the ground, which is great. So let's have a look in the marquee. Now this does seem to be working a treat. It is doing really well. Look, I have just the most amazing lettuces because the birds aren't eating it, and I'm just not used to having lettuces that the birds aren't eating. So I am drowned in lettuce at the moment, which is rather lovely. The tomatoes are doing really well. I've got some chard in here, I've got some leeks, I've got tomatoes, basil, pepper. Oh, and I've just, the white stuff you can see on the ground there, that's actually wood ash from the fire. It has potassium in it, and so I sprinkle it around some of my fruiting plants just to give it a bit more potassium. But yeah, doing really well in here so far. Plants in there seem to be really happy. So yeah, tick for the marquee so far. What are you doing? You're checking out the cucumber? Yeah. Oh, it's really raining now. This is not nice. Oh well. So the beans on the other side, we're looking at Germany now. So those beans are doing well. This, I've got beans going over there too. They are Trail of Tears beans coming up there, and they'll grow up that trellis there. And again, that plant you see there, the big one, that is the last 9-star, which I'm using for the chickens. Got my rhubarbs in the back corners, and that is the quince, which is doing quite nicely. It's got new leaves on it, which is good. I've still got lots of Cavolo Nero and a blown celery at the back. That's what it is. It's celery, a blown celery. Lots of Cavolo Nero still, which we're eating. That's a cucumber in the corner there, which is going to grow up here. And I've got another cucumber on the other side to do the same. That'll grow up here. But looking in this bed, I've got some more tomatoes. These are the latest to sow tomatoes. So these ones are my late outdoor tomatoes. So they're okay, I think. Yep. So we'll see how they do. And in here I've got these plants here. These are melons. So I've got melons, onions, these brassicas left over. I've got some leeks, some tomatoes, and I'm probably going to put some brassicas in down here as well, some broccoli. And looking over in this side, we've got, these are beans and some melons and an aubergine. So yeah, they're coming on reasonably well. Yeah, so this is my last bed to plant. So things aren't very big here. Now let's have a look at Italy. Italy's got some last brassicas. There's a purple cauliflower, violet cauliflower that won't be that long to harvest. So I've still got some brassicas in here. But what else is in here is, these beans are gigantis beans, and these are beans I grow for the pod. Not the pod. These are beans that I grow for the bean, not the pod. So that's why I can grow them in this bed, which is my pumpkin bed this year, because I don't need to access those sorts of beans. They'll just grow and then they will dry on the poles. Because this bed is my pumpkin bed. I've got a whole bunch of squash in here. I've got some butternut, I've got some red curry, I've got some Maria Chogia. So, oh, well, that was a red curry. That looks like it's been a bit eaten. Oh well, might have to put some more of those in. So again, with this rain, the slugs and snails have just having a field day. So, oh, and of course, a Cavolo Nero left over there as well. So when these romp away, essentially that I won't be able to access this bed at all, which is why I need to put things in here that don't need attention. I have got a couple of tomatoes at the front, 2 little tomatoes, and then these are beans. These are beans at the front here, and there's a couple of tomatoes there and there. Those I can access from the path, so that's fine. Oh, and I've got some, that's some spinach. So again, I can access that from the path. So yeah, things are romping away, I think. And the honeysuckle is doing quite nicely with lovely blossom, lovely scent. So that's quite nice. Right, let's have a little look at the park square. So that's the prunings which I've yet to mulch from doing the fig tree. I have to try and dash out in between rain showers. That potato tub there needs the foliage cutting off and harvesting because they'll be ready. I've got 2 more potato tubs over there. They'll be after this, the one that needs cutting off now. And then the buckets will be stacked because I don't grow potatoes through the summer because it's too hot and dry, and black tubs on concrete, they just don't do well. They do really well for me all through the spring, autumn and winter, but summer it just gets too hot. So I will empty those out and and then go again next year. In here I have kumara. This bucket here has the kumara. That's ready to go into the kumara planter if and when we ever finish it. And then I have yams in that pot. I might move these 2 somewhere else so they're not going to be in full sun, hot sun, when it arrives, if it arrives. And then looking over at my food forest, I'm actually thinking of renaming it a food jungle at the moment because you're barely able to get in there. That's the plum, and I've got all my plums wrapped in little bits of cloth to basically stop the guava moth getting at them, and hopefully we'll have a bit of a crop of plums. The elderberry is covered in flowers, so beautiful. Last year I got an amazing crop of elderberries and I made some elderberry jelly and some elderberry wine, all delicious. So that is doing really well, and the banana hopefully is going to fruit this year. It's grown a lot, so I'm hoping for flowers and fruit. And I don't know if you can see in the back there. Ooh, can you see over the top there? Maybe you can. I've got passion fruit, so I've got fruit coming, and the passion fruit are all the way over there. So there are passion fruit, I don't know if you can even see it, there's passion fruits over there, there's passion fruits everywhere, actually all the way over through to the banana as well. So yeah, it'd be good to harvest that and see how that's going. So here underneath we have, that's a rhubarb, and there's some, good Lord, I think that's, I can just about see a parsnip top. I've got New Zealand spinach in there, I've got some lemongrass at the back. And down here, oh, this is all drippy wet. Down here I have wild strawberries. So they're doing really well and covering over quite nicely there. What else have we got going here? Well, not a lot, to be honest. This is a snail vine, which I've got to get it in the ground. It needs to go in it's going to go in the chicken run. I want to grow it up the chicken coop. But to do that, I need to put in a lot of defences so the chickens don't eat it. So it's sitting in a pot for now. Got nothing in my cold frames now. You checking anything? Is there anything in there, Maggie? No, let's drink the water off the top of the cold frame. Good idea. You got a perfectly good water bowl inside. Never mind. Yes, it's really raining now, so we better go inside. I've got a few leeks and onions there that also need to go out, but I don't know where to put it. Is that tasty water, is it, Maggie? Better than the indoor water? Yes. Anyway, I think we will go in now because it's really starting to rain. Oh, I'm so fed up of this rain. Yeah, hopefully summer will arrive soon, and of course then we will complain about how hot it is.